Circles and arcs are defined a bit differently than lines and rectangles. Let's start with a circle. If I open the drop-down menu for the Circle tool, you can see that I have the option to create a regular circle or a perimeter circle. I can also access the Circle tools from the S key shortcut menu or with mouse gestures. With the regular Circle tool activated, I'll click to locate the center, move the cursor, then click again to define the radius of the circle. The click-drag method works as well. Click to define the center, hold down the mouse button, and release it to define the radius. Next, I will switch to the perimeter circle. As you can see from the icon, I need 3 clicks each representing a placement of the outside of the circle. Creating arcs is slightly different. If you notice in the Arc Tool drop-down menu, there are 3 ways to define an arc in SolidWorks: a center point arc, tangent arc, or 3-point arc. If I right-click in the graphics area, you can see that I can also choose Sketch Tools from the pop-up menu. I can also press S on my keyboard to bring up my shortcut bar, which contains most of my sketch tools. Let's start with the center point arc. I'll activate it by selecting it from the right-click menu. I use the right-click menu quite a bit because it's fast, but also because it's much easier to pick the type of arc you need than trying to remember which of the icons is which on the toolbar. Now that the center point arc is active, I'll click to define the center, and then move the cursor to see a preview of the arc. Notice that there's a line from the center to the cursor. This line is the radius of the arc, but it will also be the beginning of the arc. If I click here, the arc will begin here. Now as I move the cursor, notice the arc is being drawn from the point where I clicked. Once the arc appears the way I want, I'll click once more to finish it. Once again, the steps for a center point arc are: click to define the center, click again to define the starting point of the arc, and one more click to finish. The next type of arc is the tangent arc. As the name implies, this arc has to be tangent to something. If I activate it and click in Open Space, SolidWorks will let me know that this arc has to be attached to something. To continue with this example, let me first sketch a line. Now we can use the line as the starting point of the tangent arc. I'll click on the end point of the line and drag the cursor away. You immediately see a preview of the tangent arc. To finish the arc, I'll just click once again. There are some options available as you sketch the arc. Let's sketch another one on the other end of the line. After clicking the end of the line, if I move the cursor away from the line, I'll get a tangent arc just like the first time. However, if I return the cursor back to the starting point and move it toward the line, notice I get a tangent arc in the opposite direction. If I return the cursor once more and move my cursor away from the line in a perpendicular direction, I'll get a perpendicular arc. So even though the arc is called a tangent arc, there are several different results you can get, including a perpendicular arc. The last type of arc is the 3-point arc. Once the 3-point arc sketch tool is active, you click to begin the arc, and click again to end the arc. So far, the beginning and end of the arc have been established, but the arc itself is yet to be defined. By simply moving the cursor from one side to the other, I can define the position and size of the arc. When the preview looks okay, you click once more to finish. So the 3-point arc is defined by clicking 3 times. Once to start the arc, once to end it, and a third time to define its size. There is one additional and very useful method to create an arc that does not appear on the Sketch toolbar. It's called Sketch Auto Transition and is accessed from the Line tool. Begin a sketch line, and to switch to an arc, simply move your cursor back to the beginning of the line segment and move your cursor off in the direction you would like the arc to continue. Notice the Line tool has switched to an arc. You can control the direction of the arc by moving your mouse in different direction from starting point. After completing the arc, the Sketch Line tool is reactivated. These are the basic and most often used sketch tools. There are many others, and later in this lesson, we'll take a look at several more of them. But first, let's take a look at how to control sketches using something called relations.